We love Mississippi and Louisiana, and let me tell you why. If it wasn't for Mississippi, we'd be last in everything. God bless them.
Pennsylvania has a huge rivalry with West Virginia. Pennsylvania doesn't like them. They're like, West Virginia, ew, no thank you.
In some parts of West Virginia, they'll tell you that if you cross the river into Kentucky, that they'll eat you and your babies.
Kentucky has a pretty big rivalry with Indiana because it's literally right across the river from Indiana.
They're just two opposing sports teams and right next to each other.
Michigan's biggest rival is Ohio.
Mostly for football, I'd say, is probably the big one.
It all comes down to who you like in football.
When it comes to like Alabama, you don't want to go there.
Alabama has a rivalry with pretty much every state that loses to us.
Gross, get out. Everyone hates Alabama. It's a football thing, but also just like, ugh.
Florida definitely has a rivalry with Georgia.
Everyone calls Florida the South, but it's not really South. It's just northern transplants that have no southern accent at all. So sorry, Florida, you don't really count as a southern state to me.
New Mexico's biggest rival is probably Texas.
Texas, Texas, Texas.
People think that Oklahoma is comparable to Texas. There's just so much more to do in Texas.
Texans like to think they're, the biggest state. Alaska is the biggest state. Texas is our little sister.
Nebraska's biggest rival is Colorado. They're like our cooler younger brother to the left.
People in Colorado have a rivalry with people from California.
I mean, a lot of people try and compare California to Arizona, but it's not really fair because California has all these beaches.
Las Vegas is 4 hours from Los Angeles. So you have party and then party right next door in LA. And of course, Nevada wants some of that action.
California has a rivalry with no one. I think California has a rivalry with itself.
Portland, Oregon often takes credit for all Portland. It gets a little disheartening when people are like, oh, I'm going to Portland. And they're like, you're going to Maine? And they're like, no, I'm going to Oregon.
They do have very good beer in Oregon. We don't like Washington. Like, they gave us grunge, but they also gave us Macklemore.
Missouri has a natural rivalry with the state of Kansas because the Missouri River divides us. And you'll get people that'll say, oh, I'm a Missourian, or I don't live on the Kansas side, I live on the Missouri side.
Whenever I say, oh, I'm from Maryland, they're like, oh yeah, you're from DC. I'm like, no, I'm from Maryland.
New Hampshire has a rivalry with Vermont, mainly because they have like the same exact shape of us, but they're upside down and we're right next to each other.
People from Vermont go there to buy tax-free groceries.
But they don't have the beach.
Florida also, people tend to favor the beaches there instead of beaches in South Carolina when they should really come to South Carolina.
I think Virginia has a rivalry with North Carolina.
South Carolina. The rivalry stems from purely just being called the same thing and wanting to be the better of the two.
North Dakota definitely has a rivalry with South Dakota.
People forget that I'm from South Dakota and they say, oh, North Dakota? And I'm like, no, I'm from South Dakota. It's the superior of the Dakotas.
When I was growing up, we used to tell North Dakota jokes. And then I met someone from North Dakota and they tell Montanan jokes.
Wyoming's biggest rivalry would probably be Montana, just because Montana also has a lot of beautiful views.
I don't know if we have a rivalry with any states. I feel like we'd be too polite.
I don't think we have a true rivalry of states with anybody.
The biggest rivalry in Idaho is between southern and northern Idaho. If you're from Hawaii, we're for you. If you're not, too bad.
Delaware probably has a rivalry with New Jersey.
Delaware or Rhode Island.
We're always kind of like Massachusetts' little brother.
We're the best, sorry. The biggest rival would be New York because you can go from New Jersey to New York and not even go over the water.
But New York is tops. I think it's probably the best city in the world.
Illinois has a rivalry with Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
It's either the Packers versus the Vikings or Packers versus the Bears.
But we can both honestly agree that Wisconsin and Illinois hate Iowa.
You can tell, like, when they're driving on the road that they think that they're better than us and that they have bigger cities and that we are just backwoods, but they got it all wrong.